But there's one more thing. You said something about, getting all dirty on clay.
Yeah.
And we're talking, Paris, Roland Garros happening.
Yes.
And you have the longest streak on clay ever. So
there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. I actually think what Rafa Nadal is doing now is even better than what I did, even though my numbers are better, winning 125 matches in a row, because when I came on the scene in the 70s, there were two types of players. There were serve volleyers and there were clay court players. And most of the top players, because the Grand Slams, 3 of them were on grass. Most of the top players, Billie Jean, Margaret Court, Rosie Casals, Virginia Wade, all the top players served and volleyed and really didn't have great ground strokes. And I was born with great ground strokes because I was raised on clay. So that was my style. So my style, playing a serve and volleyer on clay, wasn't that difficult.
Yeah.
And it was my generation, the generation after the Billie Jean Kings, the Margaret Courts, when it started coming around with Yvonne and Sue Barker and Hanna Menlikova, Martina. That generation learned to play better on clay. But when a lot of those tournaments were won against, again, women who were not clay court players. Nowadays, all the top players are excellent on every surface. So it would be a lot tougher in this day and age to duplicate what I did in the 70s because of that.
And that goes to a point that now you think today you have the courts and the surfaces are much more level, right?
They are.
And contrary to what you're saying, actually playing on grass nowadays is easier than it used to be. I experienced myself, and way before you couldn't basically play from the back. It's very tough.
It was all about serve and volley on grass,
yeah.
And that's why it was. I count winning Wimbledon 3 times, 3 of my biggest achievements, because I was a baseliner winning on grass.
Right.
Nowadays, the grass courts are harder. They play more like a hard court. And nowadays, the clay courts are faster with the balls, with the clay, with the equipment, so they play very fast. So it's really an equalizer. And if you look, there aren't specialized players anymore. They're all great on every surface.
Yeah, that was my next point. So now you don't have the specialized, but the pattern of play has to be more leveled. I mean, especially on the guys, everybody plays more or less the same game, very strong from the baseline, very seldom coming to the net. On the women's side, what do you think can make a difference for someone to stand out?
On the clay or on any surface?
On any surface, yeah.
You have to have power.
Right.
And you have to have that one big shot. And I think having a big serve, you're winning free points. That's how Serena, she has a big serve. I think you have to have power and a big shot, and I think you have to move well, obviously. You have to have it all.
Right.
You have to have the whole package of being a great athlete, and then you have to have the mind. You have to not fear pressure. You have to play well under pressure.
Yeah.